Hi, welcome back, fellow artists and art fans. Those of you visiting for the first time, I'm Anne from Anne M. Lorenc Art, and this is the second of the King Solomon's knot tutorial videos. If you have not done the first one for the basic knot, there's a link to it down below. You don't have to do that one first. It's helpful, but you can totally do this video. You could do this tutorial without that one as well. Feel free to pause, speed up, or slow down the video where you need to. And you'll need a paper and something to draw with, usually a pencil and eraser, but you can just use a pen, whatever works for you. You can pause this while you go grab it. All set? Let's go. Okay, so we're doubling the King Solomon's knot. So what we're going to do is start by blocking out the lines, the basic skeleton of the knot. So what I'm going to do is have 4 lines going horizontally. This will be your 2 Solomon's knots together. So I'm just kind of estimating to make sure I have approximately the same amount of space between the lines and about the same amount of width of the lines themselves. And then I'm going to come down 2. Now, if you want to, you can use a ruler to do this. As I've said before, sometimes I find that with rulers, it can make your lines go off a little bit, but you can always adjust them as well. So if you feel more comfortable using a ruler to do this, by all means, you can. Again, I'm just kind of, with these freehand videos, I like to just show you that you have an option to do it without a ruler as well, because sometimes you just don't have one handy. And okay, so now here, you just kind of try to line up the bottom lines to the top ones too. That's just going to make it a little bit easier going forward. And then, so then that's the basic box part of it. Okay, so now we're going to start connecting. So we're going to do A to K, and I'm not going to draw the line all the way through because I do want to leave space for the intersecting lines. This is O to B, so I'm just going to put the little, the shorter line in. And now we're going C to I. Basically, if you're looking at that little picture I have in the bottom, that shows you the graph there. So now this is N to D, and then E to H, and then we'll go from L to F, and then from G to J, and again leaving those spaces so that you can kind of see, and we can adjust those later. So this is that H to E again, and then just extending the line there, and now that's that C to I, leaving space for that line that's going to go from L to F again. And then, of course, you just erase and fix it up as you need to. So again, that's L to F. And then, so put that in there. And again, stopping a little bit short so that I can make room for the other lines. I'm kind of estimating about how wide I want the ribbon, either side of the ribbons to be. So now this is that A to K, just kind of putting in that extra line there, and then we'll finish that off. And then from L to F, and I think I'll straighten that out a little bit. It's a little, yeah. And now this is P to M, or M to P. So put in that bottom line, and then this is N to D, and then it will be, well, I'm going to have to fix that, I think. Well, I'll just adjust it maybe. Yeah, I mean, you can either just completely fix it, which is what I'm going to do because that's a little too off. I don't like how small that line was, so I'm just going to re-extend that line and then just redraw it up. And then sometimes this happens, even with the grid method, regardless of which way you use it, sometimes the lines might come off a little bit. So now O to B, and then just kind of finishing those that P to M, and then finishing that off, and there's your basic skeleton. Okay, so now I'm going ahead to put in the two sides of the ribbon, and I always start with the exterior and then I'll come back and do the interior, and I'll try to eyeball it to make sure that the two sides line up. And I'm going to continue along again, keeping with the outer edge, just to keep it helps keep the knot work a little bit straighter. And then here, continuing around, and then you can see here I'm kind of double checking the height of the line, and it seems like it's a little off, so I'm just going to go ahead and fix that. And if for some reason you know, you realize that at the end, that's fine, it's not a problem. These don't have to be 100% perfect. You can always go back and fine tune it when you're putting in a border or anything like that. And then so also doing these, especially doing them freehand, gives you the opportunity to kind of train your eye to be able to see these spatial distances, like trying to judge like exactly how much room you need to leave for the other ribbons to come through, or how far down you need to go, or as you saw when we were sketching out the original skeleton of the knot, you know, how much distance between each line and how long each line was going to be. And the more that you do this, the more that you will train your eye to and your hand to be able to do this without too much effort. So comes in handy, especially, you know, if you can't find a ruler or there's not one lying around the house, which used to happen to me all the time, which is partially why I felt it was important to be able to show how to do these completely freehand as well. And then, of course, you know, occasionally the lines aren't going to be exactly where you want them, and that's okay. You just go back in and you just fix them. That's why it's handy to have an eraser, and why I like to do these in pencil first sometimes. And then you just go ahead and finish that off. Okay, and then once you finish off this section, you can just, you know, go back in. If you need to erase any lingering marks, you can do that. And then I'm going to go ahead, take my black pen and my artist pen, and then I'm going to go ahead and cover all my pencil lines with ink. This will give me a nice sort of finish to it before I add any color, just kind of neaten out any lines that you may have there. Now we're going to put in the color to demonstrate the pathways. There's going to be two separate ribbons in this particular doubled knot. So you'll see the first one, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do this in red, and then I'll do the second one in green, which you'll see shortly. Again, if you're doing this at home, you do not have to use red and green. You can use whatever colors you want, or whichever cross hatching that you want, or line hatching. So you don't have to use these colors. I'm just using them for demonstration purposes so that you can get an idea of which knot goes, or which ribbon goes where, like where they actually interlace. Right, so now that the red is in, I'm going to go ahead and put in the green to show the second ribbon's pathway. And this one is going to be basically like an upside down W, so it's like the two W's come together and to make this knot. So, but you'll be able to see the pathway of where the two interlace, where they go over and under, and then just to make it a little clearer. So, so here's the green. Okay, so here's the finished version of the doubled King Solomon's knot if you don't want to add a border. Now, if you do want to add a border to it, what you'll do again is just like with the basic knot, you'll come in and you'll make, you'll connect all the different spaces that come between the sections of the knot, like the borders of the knot there. And then what you can do is once that's done, you can go back in and go along the sides just to kind of neaten it out. I can see where there's a couple areas that I can tell are a bit crooked, and so I'll want to kind of hide that a little bit, and works like an optical illusion when you border it in black, as long as the lines that you put around the outside aren't too drastically different in width. You can basically kind of hide the inconsistencies, like where it might be a little off. So, and you see this a lot in you'll see it on like different monuments and things where sometimes the knotwork is not perfectly straight. You'll see like where they've like kind of squished it into places and things. So it's perfectly okay to not have it completely straight. I used to think that it always had to be, and but then after seeing the monuments in person, I could see like it's not always exact. So you can, you know, feel free to experiment with it a little bit and see where you like it. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to fill in the black, I'm going to fill in the empty spaces in black here. Right, so I just realized I forgot to add the outer part of the border, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in now. Again, if you draw upwards when you're doing a vertical line, and if you go from left to right when you're doing a horizontal line, it tends to come a little straighter. And If you're left-handed, you might want to try doing your horizontal lines from right to left if you feel like they're not coming out as straight left to right. And then, so yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish drawing in this border, and then I will return to putting in the rest of the black. So sorry about that interruption there. And there's the finished version of the freehand doubled King Solomon's knot. Everyone, thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you found most helpful. Remember to subscribe so that you can be notified of more tutorials both in this series and future series. And again, I'm Anne from Anne M. Lorenc Art. And until next time, happy adventuring in art. Bye!